So the first thing about the orchid is that really is a container of love, right? The orchid is that friend that really listens to you without judgment. It's that place where you go and you really feel like home, safe, secure. And so when you are there, what ends up happening is that you feel more willing to go to those dark places inside of you to do the work and the healing that needs to get done. And
Yeah.
normally you don't want to because it's scary, because you're not well supported, And so the orchid takes these 5 women to that experience. And as they get there, they meet Mary, the founder, who it's just the most loving individual that you can think. And she's powerful, generous, and she knows her power. But more importantly, she knows that that power lies inside of everybody.
Just a little taster of what is coming up on the show. But first, please do like this video and subscribe to the channel. And also tell your friends and family about this podcast. Please let us know in the comments if you would like to hear any particular topic in relation to sleep or health. And I will create a show especially for you, just for asking the questions. So let's get on with the show. Hey, I am super excited about this next conversation coming up with Rocio and Angel. Let me tell you a little bit about them before we dive into our conversation. Rocio and Angel, they are co-founders of a company called For the Highest Good. And this company is dedicated to creating transformative narratives that inspire personal growth and empowerment. And Rocio, she was born in Mexico City. She's now based in Los Angeles, and she has been all over the world, India, Asia, London. She has yet to come to Ireland, and she has had a distinguished career in media and advertising sales, working with renowned companies like Time Magazine, TV Azteca, Nickelodeon, Sony Pictures Entertainment, and A&E Mondo. And Angel was originally from Puerto Rico, a graduate of Cornell University, and he has had a really successful career at Sony Pictures Entertainment, where he led content distribution teams across Latin America, Asia, Pacific, and Europe. And with experiences over 65 countries, Angel has merged his corporate leadership with a profound journey of self-discovery and purpose. And both Angel and Rocio really firmly believe that inner well-being is really the foundation of health and prosperity in all areas of your life and business. And they really do advocate that when a person is in harmony with themselves, everything just flourishes. Their personal endeavors flow more authentically, and everything is just so much better. And their debut work, The Orchid, this book here, The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses, invites readers to discover their inner power and find balance in their lives. And it really does serve as a reminder that self-love and gratitude and inner clarity are really keys to achieving success in all areas of life. So let's dive into the conversation. Welcome everybody back to an incredible episode of the Empowering Family Health Podcast. I'm Johann Callaghan. I am your host. And as always, I am here to bring you inspiration and support. And I have some amazing, incredible guests today. I can't believe I have these wonderful guests in the studio here with me today. We're going to talk all about their work and the changes that they're making in the world. We have Angel Orengo and we have Rocio Aquino. Did I pronounce that right? Come in and say hello. You're very, very welcome.
Thank you so much. It's really, the names are always something that they say, how you pronounce your name? My name is Rocio Aquino.
And I'm Angel, Angel in Spanish. And it's a pleasure to be here, Joanne. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm so happy that you're here. I really am, because you're doing incredible work and you've got a lot going on. You're doing, you're abundant with things to do. I don't like to call people busy. Tell us a little bit about yourselves before we dive into the conversation. Tell us a little bit about your background, and because you're incredible rock stars. I mean, you really are. I mean, you're on major platforms like the LA Tribune and Tribe Global now, which very shortly. And so tell us a little bit about your background so people can get a sense of who you really are in the world.
Well, I'm from Mexico City. My mom was from Spain. She emigrated to after the war, and I grew up in Mexico believing that I was from Spain. Think that doesn't happen. I work. I have a lot of challenge in my life. A lot of challenge. So that's why we are here today, because I have challenge, he has challenge, but after that we overcome many of them. And we met in Mexico when he was there opening the office for Sony Pictures to manage several TV channels. And after that, we get in love deeply, and we moved to live in Miami for 7 years. Then we moved to Hong Kong, and we were there for 6 years. We have two daughters. They were born in Miami, and we took them really baby to Hong Kong because Angel was overseeing all Asia and Pacific, and we have the opportunity to travel Australia, New Zealand, India, Bhutan, Mongolia, China, Japan, North Korea, many, many places. And after that, he oversees London and all Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And was a beautiful experience for all the family. After we moved to LA, and after when I was in London, I was asking to everyone, how do you forgive? Please tell me the steps. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because really I have a challenge that at one point I cannot continue to live carrying that weight. So after doing a master in spiritual psychology together, uh, we decide that, oh my God, we really feel the difference in our life. And we need to tell more people that
Right.
this is possible, and that is incredible when you learn the power that we have inside. But when you carrying so much pain, then in that moment you cannot move forward. So that's who I am, with my amazing husband of 25 years,
25 years.
Angel.
Said
Yes.
it was really, through all these travels, your eyes open up and you start to see it's beautiful to travel because you start to see other ways of living, and you
Yeah.
start to realize that other people have figured it out too, and they're figuring it out, and their religion is different, but it kind of makes sense. I like that element about them. I like the way they live. I like the way they behave, or I don't like those elements about
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And that helped us tremendously in crafting just an open mind, or a more open mind. And then one day, as Rocio was looking for that forgiveness, we had invested a lot of money and lost it. And I was able to let go, and she hadn't. And she would ask, how do you forgive? It's like, I don't know, just let it go. Because for me, it was very simple. Other things were not simple, but that in particular
I
was.
get that. Yeah.
But she's like, no, not only do I want to know how to forgive, I want to know the ABC of forgiving. How do you do it? What are the steps? And that led us down a path in which we started deep introspection, spiritual psychology, as she mentioned, reading hundreds of books on different subjects, from energy to health, sort of people who had survived tremendous experiences.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we started to change. And we changed so much that we really did look at each other and say, are you feeling what I'm feeling? Because it feels like I'm crazy. It feels that this is unreal. And because we were doing it together, we were able to say and look at each other in the eyes and say, no, no, this is real. I feel exactly the same way. And so that led us into that journey of, well, let's do something about it. And that's what led us to the book.
Oh my, I'm getting goosebumps listening to you. Oh my God. like, is there anywhere in the world that you haven't been? I mean, I think it's so important to travel the world. I'm saying that to my younger daughter. I really want her to travel around Europe, and she's been to China, she's been to Australia, she's been to Europe. I have to bring her over to the States and further beyond, because I think it's really important to see other cultures and see how other people are living, because there's societal and cultural ways of living and being, and they have their certain ways that would be really alien to us over here in Ireland, like, and it's just their way of being. But I think it's an eye opener, and to understand that we're not so fixed. We don't have to be so fixed in the way that we're living, But I love, the work that you're doing around the spiritual psychology, and I got goosebumps there, Angel, when you said, that we are so powerful and you've got to do this work. And when you start to really, really feel it after years and years of reading all those books. And we were talking just before we pressed record, that, I got a sense of that as well. I've had a lot of shit in my life, as most people do, but it's how you tackle it, it's how you perceive it, and a lot of it's to do with our background, and even generational stuff. So tell us, what do you see that's not working in the world right now, and we're going to like bring that through to the solution and how you're helping people. But what do you see that's not working in the world right now? Like, what's the biggest problem? Like, people are struggling. What's going on?
My personal opinion is that we don't know that we are so powerful.
We've
Are we
given
afraid? Are we
we've given
afraid of how powerful?
No, we are not afraid. We didn't know better. So in the moment that you don't know how to really overcome o sea, it's how you really begin to form a more conscious environment. And for example, something that really happened to us after begin to move ourselves, I was a victim, and I grew up in a victimhood way of thinking that things happen to me.
Yeah.
In the moment that I begin to see that, and I move myself to, I can make things happen. Oh, I don't need to live in the past.
Mhm.
Wow, I can begin to be in the present moment happy all the time. And it's like, how you can do that? So I learned how to make peace with my past. So I can have all my attention and my energy to the present moment to create really what I want to create. And that's why we are putting everything in the book. In
Yes.
the Orchid, the Secret Code of Modern Goddesses, is we are taking all the characters to this introspection for them to really overcome the challenge that they are presenting. So when you are reading the book, like somebody,
The ability to rest is the body's key to healing. Do you struggle with getting asleep at nighttime or staying asleep during the night and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely exhausted? My book, How to Get a Good Night's Sleep, is easy to understand, it's solution-based, and it's packed with research to help you take back control of your night's sleep. My book is available on Amazon, and it's also available on howtogetagoodnightsleep.com. This book is also available in audio and ebook. So get your copy today and start having the best night's sleep that you've only ever dreamed of.
begin to have inspiration of, they are seeing it different. Oh, I can do this in another way. And you begin to understand that really humans, persons, we didn't know better, and that's why we are acting the way we act.
I love that. And you mentioned, Rocio, that you were able to focus on the now, that you stopped focusing on the past and being the victim. And what I really got from that was it's where your focus was going. And that helps you to create your future. It's what we're paying attention to. And I love, like, this book, The Orchid, The Secret Code of Modern Goddess. you've very generously given us a copy of this for all the attendees at the May 13th event, the Rise Her Collective, Together We Stand. So this event has been done with Deb Drummond, who is an incredible lady. She's the founder of the 262 Women's Project, as you know, and her book has been to the Emmys and the Oscars and all of that great stuff as well. So it's such a pleasure to be able to have this book and hand it out to all the attendees. And I'm super excited because we're here today to talk about your book. Tell us, Rocio or Angel, what drove you to, so you have different stories, and there is power in telling stories, as you said, because we can see ourselves in other people's lives through story. So tell us a little bit about the book and what are the key concepts of the book?
Well, the story is, when we started writing, we thought we would be writing about ourselves, and we did, except we decided to tell our story of introspection and growth through the eyes of 5 women. And so we're going to follow 5 women as they go to this amazing retreat in Northern California. And there they find a community of women, all of which are struggling somehow. And they find themselves in this loving place. So the first thing about the orchid is that really is a container of love, right? The orchid is that friend that really listens to you without judgment. It's that place where you go and you really feel like home, safe, secure. And so when you are there, what ends up happening is that you feel more willing to go to those dark places inside of you to do the work and the healing that needs to get done. And normally you don't want to because it's scary, because you're not well supported, and so the orchid takes these 5 women to that experience. And as they get there, they meet Mary, the founder, who it's just the most loving individual that you can think. And she's powerful, generous, and she knows her power. But more importantly, she knows that that power lies inside of everybody. Okay. And she's just there not to take your power or give you hers, but rather to help you uncover what's inside of you. And so that leads all of these amazing women through 5 lessons: awareness, really getting to know yourself and the whys of why you act the way you act, and perhaps the consideration that if you don't like it, you may consider that it's okay to change it. Then is gratitude. And we spoke earlier about gratitude as well. And throughout life, we have almost become quite superficial about gratitude. Gratitude is a force that transforms you deeply from within when you access it in its pure form. Forgiveness is quite similar. And you mentioned forgiveness earlier as well. One example that I use is, it's like the Buddhists say that it's like carrying a hot coal in your hand, looking to throw it at that person or that situation that, did something nasty to you in the past. And all you're really doing is burning yourself in the process.
Yes.
You mentioned how forgiveness is a gift and to yourself. So we speak of that as well. And the last 2 are acceptance, which is we normally just hitting ourselves against the brick wall, wanting to change the wall instead of just stepping back and saying, well, maybe I can just go around it. Mm-hmm. And finally is intention. Is how do you put intention into everything that you do, into that conversation that you're going to have with your mom, with your daughter, or your boss, or simply waking up in the morning and saying, today is going to be a magnificent day. So that's what they experience at the Orchid.
Because the most important part is we give them tools through the book to the reader.
Yeah.
So they begin to experience how you can really, what is journal, what is breathing, what is a letter of gratitude, so it's a complete retreat.
Well, something really important in touching on what Rocio just said, we come from the world of entertainment. And typically you see a story, it's all about the drama in the person's life. And we've been accustomed to loving the drama in people's lives. Yes, and we wanted to do that. We wanted,
Talk about, yeah.
but we also, we love this saying that says life is 10% what happens and 90% how you react.
Yes, heard that. Yeah,
The book is that. The book is 10% what happens to these women. And the rest of the book, it's all about how these women came out of those situations, the tools they learned, the conversations they had in order to feel better about themselves. Because really, that's what's really, when you asked the question before, why? Why are we still? It's because we don't feel good about ourselves. We think we're powerless. We live
yeah,
in shame. We live in guilt. And the moment you start elevating yourself from those vibrations, from that energy, you start feeling different. And when you
yeah,
do, oh, I like that. I want
yeah.
more.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like a roller coaster. It's up and down. And it's like, okay, well, how do I activate this again, to feel? Because it is like it's up and down. Because life would be boring if it was just amazing and happy and you're on cloud nine every single day. Just that doesn't work. Because we're here on the planet, I believe, to learn and grow and evolve. And we're evolving, by learning. We have to fail to succeed. Isn't that what we always hear, especially as entrepreneurs? You have to fail to succeed. And that's part of life. So being open to learning from something that is not working. I did a program and we learned, whenever you're having a breakdown, get very excited because all that there is next is a breakthrough. When you discover what it is that's not working. But I love the fact that you have exercises in this book as well, because we can read and learn all that we want, but there's no transformation unless we implement it. So I love that you have exercises in the book as well. And you've got a lot of journaling here as well, and you've charts and everything. You've got so much. It's jam packed. I mean, it is just so powerful. I mean, every woman needs to read this book, and even men, but letters of gratitude. Oh, look at this. There's so much stuff in here. The forgiveness is amazing, though, because so many of us, there's so many places I want to go with this, but the forgiveness is a very strong, powerful one for me in particular, because so many of us feel, guilty. That guilt and the shame is such a low vibration. And, when we're carrying that around for years, it can really weigh you down, and we learn to live with it and cope, but we don't even realize it because it's a gradual thing that we're learning to live with every single day. And this is the danger, I think. And when we wake up, when we become aware, that's your first step. When we become aware, when we just notice it, we don't necessarily have to do anything straight away, but just being aware that that exists, or I'm feeling this way, feeling it in your body, because our body, we're 70% water, and, it carries, I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Emoto. He done the experiments on the water, hidden messages in water is his book. And that's a phenomenal insight of how your cells store memory. And so when we feel it, and then when we're having the gratitude, and yes, that word is very much overused, but gratitude is probably one of the easiest ways of lifting yourself out of that dark hole. For me personally, it was before I went to work on the other stuff. But I love that you have all these different steps and that you touch on each of these steps as well. And through the story of these 5 women, and 10% of it is the what happened part. What are their favorite bits? Talk to us about limiting beliefs. Why is that so important? You talk to us about that in the book as well.
Because it's for me at one point when I came from Mexico culture, a Mexican, a beautiful Mexican who grew up really thinking that maybe beans was only eaten in Mexico, and then you begin to see that many things happen all over around the world. So at one point, I discovered that I was very limiting beliefs. When you live in a place without traveling, you really don't know how other people live. Now, because we have more TV shows and because we have social media, you begin to see how people live in another place. But really, it's until you are in a longer period of time that you really understand how people live in a place. So I grew up thinking that in Mexico, we are a third world country and we are the way we are.
Yeah.
So imagine thinking that, right? And then I go to Hong Kong, and from there, I begin to see the difference between Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines, the different colonies who they were conquered. And where was the way of thinking of these beautiful countries? And you see a very clear difference.
Yeah.
And then we move to live in London and how they think about the world and their perspective. So it was really only an idea. And when I discovered that was an idea of the collective, in that moment, give me the freedom to change my perspective of who I am and who I can become. But I need to let go many things, the shame to be less than, because I was for a country that they didn't speak English, because my accent, because I was not pretty enough compared to social media, because I was not rich enough compared to someone else. I was not. It's all these things that every person carries. Everyone knows themselves. And when you begin to understand that when you are born, okay, you live in that beautiful family. But if your family didn't know better, you grow up believing that that's the only way to live.
Yeah.
So until you begin to see that, you begin to understand that you can separate from that and really create a difference, a change, and you can behave in a different way. So it's going inside of us to really question what is this limiting belief is making me feel better about myself or feel about worse about myself. So I went one by one, learning and question and work it out. And if at one point I have something here, for example, that I was feeling that I was not able to say what I want, I was feeling that obstruction in my throat. So I was beginning to understand that the real forgiveness that I need to do, the deep forgiveness is to myself for believing all these lies that I was. When I was growing, they told me that I'm not better than, less than. So in that moment, for that reason, it's super important to talk about.
There's so much I can hear in that, Osea, and we're all individuals as well, and we have all, just, it's not one way, it's the highway. We're all very individual as well, and forgiving yourself, because we are our own worst critics. I mean, we would not talk to our best friends the way we talk to ourselves, and I think we need to honor ourselves. We're in this body, we're spiritual beings, yes, but we're in this body, and we need to honor and respect our body and honor and respect who we are, because the minute we talk bad about ourselves, we're not respecting ourselves. Hello. Do you know what I mean?
I was my best friend for first time at 50.
Oh, yeah.
53, I'm 53, and finally it's like wow.
Yeah.
How incredible is to see my two kids, 19 and 17, really don't talk in themselves, even though that they are 19 and 17, society is still telling them that they are not enough.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But they understand now and they can see, and it's like I don't bite what you are saying. So they are really creating from a place for abundance, creativity, freedom, who is what we want everyone to experience.
I think one of the things that it's really important is for us to recognize that this is not something we cost ourselves. This is how society has developed. And you can choose to put a judgment to that or not. We choose not to, right? Because that's just focusing and blaming the past and how could it be and so on. But once you realize, oh, okay, I've been told for many years, centuries, and millennia that I need it to be like this, that everything that Rocio said. And I believe that there is an opportunity to really recognize that and say, okay, I understand that that is how society has moved and that is the direction in which it's gone. But I also choose not to be part of that anymore. That's a choice, and that's where the power begins. I am not going to listen to the advertising that says that in order to feel good, I need to go shopping, or in order to feel good, I need to eat or drink, and all of these other extremes that we have gone to as a society. And so the moment you start doing that, all you really do is you create this little space between you and that urge. And that space is gigantic because the moment that you create that separation, you create control, you create choice. And you can choose to eat and you can choose to go shopping and you can choose to do all of those things. But when you do it knowing that they don't define you, that you don't need them in order to feel good, but rather because you choose to do them, power becomes accessible to you. And that's where change grows and continues. And it's a process and it needs to be reminded again and again. But it's a beautiful process. It's almost unlearning, right? The future of our education is really to unlearn what we've learned and learn from a different perspective and a different point of view. And know that you are the center of your universe. And you don't need intermediaries for anything. It's your power. You're one with whatever your belief system is. It's you, it's within you, and you're part of it. And so it's really beautiful. My biggest limiting belief was this is the way I am, and I'm never going to change. And the moment I let go of that, you know what happened? Freedom.
Yeah. Open to change and possibility, and it wasn't so fixed. I can really hear that, and I love what you said. And we're going to wrap up shortly because I know you guys need to go. But I love, especially with the youth of today, because the youth, it's a very challenging time right now for the youth, and they are our next leaders in the world. And as parents, we're there to guide and support our parents or our children, and I see a lot of parents wrapping the kids up in cotton wool and doing everything for them, and we're not doing them any favors by doing that at all. We need to kind of stand back and let our children fall over, and get back up again, and because that's where the resilience is, but guide them in that process. And just be open for them to come and talk to us whenever they want to feel. That's so important, that our children feel safe enough, that they're not been judged, or you're bold, you're bad, whatever, like that. Our children can feel they can come and talk to us, and I love what you said, Angel. We are so powerful, and if we just check in with ourselves for that awareness, and then ask ourselves powerful questions, what you were saying, Rocio, asking ourselves really, really powerful questions, to have the antenna go up and look for the positive things, the possibilities that are around us. Oh, listen, we're going to wrap it up, but just before we do, just maybe just to summarize, or is there any last kind of thoughts that you really want to get out there that we haven't said? But before you do that, I am so honored. I really am to have you here, and even the conversation that we had before we start recording, and because I just felt so safe in this space, just talking to you, like as if you're my best friend. Well, you're my best friends, but I haven't even met you in person or anything, but that says a lot, to be able to feel safe in a space to just talk to people, like really talk, like really, really talk. And I think that's what's missing. So just to wrap up, if you want to each give maybe a summarizing thought or a message that you want to leave the audience with, and everybody at the event, the Rise Her Collective, is going to get a copy of this book. Let me see, get it proper in the picture. Everybody's going to get a copy of this book. Everybody. And as if anyone ever watched the Late Late Show over here in Ireland, we have the Late Late Show, and the famous line is, "There's one for everybody in the audience."
Wow, what a great present. So you go.
You go.
Really, the most important part is when you change, everything around you change. I used to have my glasses I used to see life through the eyes of victimhood and really being somebody who was lacking of, and now is my new glasses are abundance, creativity, possibility, freedom, empowerment, and really the most important part is be nice to yourself.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
It's the most important part.
Yeah.
I'm going to read the dedication in the book because I think it really sums everything we've been talking about.
Okay.
And it says, to all who journey through these pages, may you be inspired to rewrite your own narrative and live a life of love, free of limitations, and enriched by the knowledge that you are powerful beyond belief.
Powerful beyond belief. Now, there's a mic drop moment. We really, really are. And I got that myself, through my own story. And it comes and goes, it's fleeting, but when we get to experience it, we know we can come back to it.
Yes.
We really do. And we really are so powerful. Rocio, Angel, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for giving me your time and sharing your experience, your story, and all about the book, and especially for gifting the ladies in Ireland with the Orchid book, The Secret Code of Modern Goddesses. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Okay, thanks a million.
Thank you so much.
Amazing, amazing. So we'll talk to you soon, and hopefully I'll meet you guys in person one of these days. I am planning on going to Los Angeles, maybe in September. We'll see. I'll have that conversation with Deb, but that would be amazing. But thank you. God bless, and have a fantastic day. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I do hope you are enjoying these conversations, and to help me continue putting these videos and audio podcasts together, I do have an ask. I do need support to help me to keep bringing you knowledge and insights. There is a Patreon link, patreon.com/empowering family health, or you can make a donation via PayPal. All the links are in the description and the pinned comment. You can do a one-off, or you can do a monthly support. So I'd really appreciate that. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Take care.